Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. Today, guys, we're going to be jumping down into the price action of Cardano's ADA, taking a look at what's been going on most recently, what we think is going to happen next, and all that wonderful stuff. This will be a brief technical analysis video, so if you're looking for more, do join us down in the Discord server, linked in the description down below. It is a centralized hub of everything we do, so why not check it out? Okay. Cardano paired up with USDT on the hourly chart. Binance is the data source. I've drawn this out this morning. We had a slight invalidation. We were looking at 5 waves down. We've moved up past wave 1. So we've got a couple of options there. We can either look at this as a diagonal, or we can look at it as just a bunch of 3 waves strung together, which is kind of what I've drawn up here. I think we're going to get rejected from the 200 EMA. It looks like it also links up nicely with our 1-to-1 ratio just up here. So as you can kind of see, the 1-to-1 ratio just there, and our EMA here just moving across, and I think these two things will collide. We are of course struggling a little bit with the supply zone. This is basically an area of previous resistance. If I actually pull this across here, you can kind of see, I say resistance, more support, but resistance here, then we were trying to struggle our way through, was support, we broke it, we pushed back through, turned it to support, broke it. Now, what is it going to be? Is it going to be resistance? Is it going to be basically where a lot of selling pressure occurs? Or are we going to break through and actually head up towards that 200 EMA and the 1-to-1 ratio? Okay, so yeah, it's going to be one of those. Now, if I go ahead and grab hold of our movements here with our fibs and we move this across to this side. Actually, I did see one note. Actually, 1 second. Let's see if I can just adjust something here for a second. Can I adjust anything? Font size. Yeah, let's change our font size here. I did see a comment where someone was struggling to see the numbers. Hopefully that makes it a little bit easier. With these FIB levels, you can see that we're getting rejected from the 786 just there, really struggling around the 618 as well. Right now, can't close above the 702 actually, yeah, the 702, which actually was an area that we went up to previously. So it's an interesting one. So at the moment, this is a huge rejection area zone. It is obviously previous area of support and resistance. So it could turn into that resistance line for us and therefore get rejected from here. So just keep that in mind. The minimum expectation on the C wave has already been met. The minimum expectation would be a double top with the A wave, and we can see that we've surpassed that. So we already passed the minimum expectation. This here is just a typical expectation. Okay, now this 1-to-1 matching up with our 200 EMA is a pretty positive. It makes us think that that's actually a highly probable area that we do go to, but this resistance line is being a bit of a troublesome barrier at the moment for ADA, so rejection could be likely. Now, when we take a look at this and we think, okay, well, we've got 3 waves coming down, we go up here in 3 waves, then there's a potential move on a slightly larger time frame for a bigger move to the downside. And if I go ahead and marry this up, pull this over to our existing high here, we can see that we might actually have to come down towards our 29 cent. Now, if I go actually and go up into a 4-hour chart, you can kind of see what my thought patterns were on a much bigger movement overall. Okay, so we're tracking a bigger 5-wave move structural to the downside, and we actually are targeting out this 28 to 27 cent low point. And so actually all of that kind of mirrors up quite nicely in the correct direction to the downside. It also means that if we are going to be looking at these as 3-wave moves, we go down in a wave 1, up in a wave 2, down for a wave 3, up in a wave 4, and then down in a wave 5, and an ending diagonal structure. An ending diagonal structure is basically going to be a wave 1, a wave 2, a wave 3, a wave 4 that does cross over wave 1 and then finally come on down there. So you can research diagonal patterns if you're interested. Join us down in Discord for more details, and there's a whole PDF, 181 pages, that explains everything in Elliott wave theory, so I get you understanding what is going on. But it's possible that we are actually going to be tracking down into this low range. That's kind of where I'm expecting a bigger move to the upside afterwards. We're almost there, but a lot of people obviously get a little bit too carried away with a reversal, so they see the bigger kind of wave 4 pattern emerging here. We haven't actually hit the high area of this. We are expecting this to actually come up a little bit more, because a typical wave 4 is 38.2% retracements, and we haven't seen that yet. So this could all just be a bigger move to the upside to actually complete that structure right up there, and so we have to kind of keep that in the mind as well. Okay, but for the most part, it looks like we're going to be getting rejection, and we could be going down into an ending diagonal a little bit earlier than expected in the case of Cardano. Now, on the momentum indicators, we can of course see on the 1-hour chart that we're overbought. If I come to the 4-hour chart, we're almost back up into that overbought area. On the 8-hour, we're moving up a little ways. We've got to come down a fair amount on the 12-hour, the 16 hours, halfway there. The 20 hours coming down quite a bit, and the daily chart is about halfway on the chart as well. So there's definitely some progression in momentum, I guess, behind the price action on the macro side, and so that's not too bad. But on the smaller side of things, we need to see a little bit more volatility. So it's going to be one of those to keep a close eye on. I do think we're going to see a reasonable amount of volatility here. The only question is, are we going to actually make it up to this 1-to-1 ratio, and maybe even start thinking about pushing it slightly higher up into that wave 4, or have we in fact started our 5th wave? It will be all clear soon enough, and specifically as we come down into the next potential leg. If we do cross down lower than 30.01, then we're going to be confident in thinking that we are in fact going down in an ending diagonal structure. So I want to keep those things in mind. Okay, if this then that. Pretty familiar with that. If you're new to automation, then that might not make a lot of sense to you. But if you're familiar with the last 10 years of technology, if this, then that technology essentially is basically just programmatic to say that if this happens, then you do that. And essentially, Elliott wave theory is a series of rules that basically follows an if this, then that kind of scenario. So if this happens, then you do this, and so forth. So we're looking at some pretty interesting kind of structures at the moment for Cardano, and I think we are moving quite nicely in the right direction. So I'm expecting lower prices for Cardano's ADA, and I don't think that's surprising. I think most people probably are, considering the macro landscape of the economic climate is not fantastic, and in fact is leading us down into some pretty bearish times. A lot of the incredibly wealthy individuals in the world have got a lot of cash on the side. They are fully aware that there's opportunity coming, that it's not here yet, but when it does come, it is going to be something that it will take advantage of, and there's going to be massive wealth transfers to the wealthy yet again. So make sure you're on the right side of this. Don't just FOMO in and give your funds to these wealthy individuals at a later date. Understand how these markets actually work, and don't just blindly follow influencers. Do your own research, come to your own conclusions. And one of the basic skills in life would be being able to understand and read data across multiple different levels. And I don't just mean the charts, I mean absolutely everything. So guys, I'm going to leave this video right there. If you found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you happen to be new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so, you will be kept up to date with absolutely everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. With all that said, done out of the way, I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and I'll catch you all in the next one.